Hello everyone, welcome back in this episode of Bitcoin Trade. Uh, it's been a while. I want to go over some news real quick, and I'll just go over quick what's going on here. Let's start way back a little bit. This particular headline right here. I want to highlight. No, I guess it won't let me highlight. But this particular article right here, New York State Tax Agency, Bitcoin buyers don't need to pay sales tax. Only when you buy goods and services would you need to pay taxes, sales tax anyway. So depending on how you do it, they give you some examples. But if you buy an intangible item, like software, as an example, there's no sales tax at all. If you're simply buying and selling bitcoins, just to buy and sell bitcoins, there's no sales tax. And so only when you buy something physical in nature, not in nature, but something tangible, I should say, is there an actual sales tax. Of course, that would only apply to the state sales tax, or whatever taxes they have in your area. Whenever you go to the grocery store with your money, you buy some milk. Well, actually, grocery stores don't charge tax for milk, but I don't know. If you go and buy some office supplies, okay, and you buy them with your Bitcoin, you're going to be paying taxes, just like if you bought it with your money. So there's some things there. So, and basically, if you read everything, it just basically followed the guidelines at the federal level that what came out. So there's some news on that. And then let's see what else has happened since then. A lot has happened, and this is interesting. I do trade on local Bitcoins, and it seems like there's a halt in service for residents of Germany. Kind of strange and weird. You would think Germany would be more open and friendly, but something's going on. And ironically, when I first started trading Bitcoins, I do have an ad out for Germany. Since this has stopped, because Germany is part of the European nation, EU nation, I guess, or EU, the whole thing. As far as the Eurozone, I've had several trades occur. Not that they're in Germany or not in Germany. I had a lot of people initiate trades with me. They seem to be German, but they speak pretty good English, or type pretty good English. I had somebody that I interacted with who was selling in Germany, apparently, contact me out of the blue, and I thought that was very interesting, all around this particular time. So I think there's something going on there. I'm not sure what, but I'm starting to get a sense that even for Germany, not the people or anything, but the country and the state itself, they may be starting to realize just how important Bitcoin is becoming, and they may be a little scared because Germany has a lot of interesting history to it, and I think they're just it could be I think they're just a little taken back and they really want to re-examine this whole thing of what Bitcoin is. What is it? And so that's just my opinion. And then here's some other news. I'm getting most of this. Let me see. I want to scroll up a little bit more. Okay, there it is. So Florida Bitcoin, local Bitcoins and other local Bitcoins. And the reason I mention this is I do trade on local Bitcoins. Another thing I've noticed recently or of lately is that the couple things have happened here. The auction of the seized Bitcoins mostly went to the syndicate, and the syndicate has made up of a lot of people, and I believe it was like 100 and some odd entities of 48,000 Bitcoins. If you divide that up, that's about 400 some odd, if it was divided evenly, about 400 some odd Bitcoins. And I just want to say 400 some odd Bitcoins, as far as a trading volume, believe it or not, is, I guess for some people it's a lot, but people who trade quite a bit, that's actually not a lot. And so so you got all these Bitcoins that flooded into the market. I'm assuming they're trading and investing and doing whatnot, and I guess it trickles down to somewhere at a street level. And when I say street level, I'm talking about Main Street, Wall Street. Of course, apparently there's been a recent news that that came out, and that someone was arrested in Chicago for money transmission, literally selling in the streets. Apparently, the charge is that the was charged for unlicensed money transmission. They made it sound like the individual was trading Bitcoin and was arrested for trading Bitcoin, when in fact the individual was arrested for trafficking drugs and basically using Bitcoin to transmit the payments. And I guess there's a heavier charge for being an unlicensed transmitter, a money transmitter, than there is for buying and selling weed on the streets. Traffic was, buying and trafficking marijuana, pretty much. What's ironic is, I think if that person used US dollars, he probably would have gotten a very light sentence and would have probably most likely not served 4 years in a federal prison, I believe, with a 3-year probation after that of being monitored. That's what I've read so far, and the only reason they slapped the money, unlicensed money transmission, was the fact that he was involved in an illicit activity, and the use of Bitcoin was just what the person did to avoid, I guess, detection, as far as monetary detection. So the headlines was kind of a little misleading. It made it sound like this person was just trading Bitcoins in the street, on a street corner, and then he was charged with unlicensed money transmission. When in fact, in reality, this guy was really, from what I could tell, was basically dealing marijuana and using Bitcoin as a payment method. So I guess there's a heavier penalty for unlicensed money transmission than there is for selling marijuana on a street corner. I'm not sure he's not selling on a street corner, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, he was, for the most part, he was just basically dealing marijuana. So, anyways, that's what I found on that. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to get back to this here. What I've noticed on trading with liquid Bitcoins is that there's been a flood of people trading. There's been a flood of people trading at very low prices. And I can only assume that some of those Bitcoins that was in the auction has made its way into local Bitcoins, I believe. And by default, local Bitcoins on a peer-to-peer level, because of the escrow system they have and everything, is the place to go. There's been other companies, and I'll mention them. I haven't used them yet. I've been approached virtually, not a physical sense. No one in person came to me and said, "Hey, try out Wall of Coins." But I've had people come to me on a virtual level, text me and message me, and you know, kind of ask me to try it out. And you know, I'm usually very, very hesitant. That's just the way I am. You know, I just don't jump on top of something until I know it's real and it works decently enough, and I have a better understanding. You know, you don't feel that you've missed the boat on trading in Bitcoins, because you haven't. But what I notice now is the market is flooded right now, and so and like I said, if you don't know how to trade, and in this particular time, and also it's I believe a lot of demand has somewhat, I wouldn't say left the market, but you got to remember, it's a holiday for me, holiday season, and I do plan on not trading during that time. I plan on not even buying, selling. I may be using, though. I'll be definitely using some of those Bitcoins that I've earned, and you know, in that sense, that's some of the things I'm doing. Anyways, let me get back to this. My point is that it's a lot of things are affecting peer-to-peer transactions, and so one of this may be an issue here. Apparently, this person lost their bid to dismiss the case, and it will go to trial, and we'll see what happens. I have to admit, it's not going to stop me from going to Florida. I do plan on trading in Florida. I do plan on setting up operations there, and you know, it'll be interesting what happens, because if this holds up, basically anybody, whether it's Bitcoin or not, anything that is used as a payment instrument, which could be, in theory, anything. This my pen, this computer, anything that's been exchanged for money or even barter would be considered a payment instrument, and thus considered unlicensed money transmission. It's kind of ridiculous. Or we would constantly have to use a third party, and I find that very strange, that you're being forced to use a third party to transact. Maybe not. I'm not sure what the situation is. I've talked to quite a bit of people in Florida, and I've discussed the things that I'm doing and what I want to do in Florida, and it seems to me like what I'm doing, well, there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. But we'll see until it happens. I mean, you never know until you get there, right? But I'm following, you know, this particular case, because I think, you know, it's specifically targeted and designed to prevent the free will and use of Bitcoins, which that's something I just can't stand by and watch. I'm going to have to take a stand against that. So, anyways, this news came up. Thought that might be of interest here. So all these things came up, and let me see if I can find that other article. Here, hold on. Alright, so this is crypto coins use here. Let's see if it. Oh, this is some interesting stuff came in here. Oculus Rift is changing everything. Oh, that's nice to know. Let me see here. Let's see if I can find that particular article where they talk about the man being charged. I think when I first saw that, it came out on some of the forums. Where are some of the older news? Market point news. Blah blah blah. Okay, let's see. Let's go into the news section here. And we'll see what's going on here. Well, I can't. It's been a while. Anyway, that's too bad because the news article was here, and well, it's gone now. Anyways, let's go to chart analysis. Sorry about that. So you're probably wondering what's going on with the price, and well, let's take a quick look at something else here real quick, okay? Okay, so here you go. And if you don't know what this is a Bitcoin charts market. I look at this on my smartphone while I'm looking at the computer, and what you're seeing is an overall look, and when it's red, it means basically that the 30-day right here, the price is below the 30-day average, which this is the 30-day average right here, and it's red. So basically that just tells me, you know, you don't have to be a genius to say to yourself, you know, price is down. It's been a downtrend. It's been going down. So that's kind of what I use this for. Again, you don't have to be a genius to do that. But I just look at it as a quick glance at all the markets and where they are in price to get a sense of, to get a better idea of what's going on. And they got a little bit of graph here you can see, so just want to share that with you. And so a lot of things have been happening to the point where you're probably wondering, like, what's going on? Like, the averages aren't working out, and you'll get that. You know, you get where you've been using something like the 2 weighted average, and now it's, well, it hasn't really changed, but it's, you know, it's not working out for you. And I notice when things don't work out for you, or your trades don't kind of make sense, or you're not sure where the price is going, it's because there's a lot of battling going on as far as the price direction and price movement, price action. There's probably about a same amount of people who think the price is going down as the same amount of people who think it's going to go up. But not only do they believe or think they have gone up, but they've also made their positions in that way, and when it all works out, it kind of doesn't really go anywhere. It just goes up and down, up and down, up and down within the same price range. Well, that's a range. It's called ranging, and when it's in range, you know, your strategy of an uptrend and a downtrend just don't make any sense. It doesn't work. So you need a range strategy, and you know, it's a little different. You need, you know, in situations like this, when they go up and then they go back down and they go back up and then they go back down, it looks like back in an uptrend. It looks like back down into downtrend, and you know, it gets really confusing unless you're a range trader, which then it makes perfect sense. And so that's when you really have to switch your strategy. And a couple of other things, like I mentioned, it's the market on the street is flooded right now. I can only imagine it is, because the amount of trades I get on local Bitcoins, um, has been lower than usual. I have noticed that, but that's okay because I don't. You know, one of the things you have to do is you have to start building your own network. And if you haven't built your own network and you're heavily reliant on like local bitcoins or a wall of coins or any of these other sites, you have to remember, these aren't your customers. A lot of people refer your buyers and sellers as clients, and I think that's kind of foolish because, you know, they're not your clients. They're just buyers and sellers that come to you, and if some of them trust you enough, and trust is going to be the biggest issue with this, is that that's the only reason why they're coming back is they trust you enough to buy and sell from you. And trust is a big factor. Without trust and honesty, you really can't. You can't survive in this market, because what I've noticed is this market is rife with people who are untrustworthy, people who are very, very shady in their transactions. I would have to say a lot of them are just scammers. They just scam you. And I do go onto the forums. Some I kind of participate, others I don't. But I see all the problems out there, and it's not an issue of Bitcoin is not good or anything. It's an issue with the person who's trading the Bitcoins. Bitcoin itself is harmless, doesn't do anything, but the person using the Bitcoin, well, that's the problem. And so, you still can't take away your good due diligence on the person. Bitcoin itself is, it is what it is, and it works. It's the person who wields Bitcoin, I think, is the issue at times. So, anyway, I'm sorry if this is taking too long. Let me get to my chart analysis. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering what's happening. I'm going to go into a few things. I'm going back into the lines. I still use these averages, but I don't use them as much because when they do this a lot, go up and down, it's kind of it's a mute point to look at it, because it's hard to tell. One of the things you can do is and I'm going to go, this is on Bitfin, and it's on a 12-hour. So one of the things you can do, especially recently when the volumes are really low, okay, of recent there, compared to some of these more higher volumes that they go up, but recently, right about here, they've been low. Sometimes here they're low. So when you are trading and the volumes are low and the price action doesn't quite move as much, you really have to go in. And so I'm going to go in first, and I'm going to go into a 1 hour, and then now you could start using the averages again as a way of kind of an indication of how to trade. But this is only, in my opinion, short term, because when you go up to an hourly or anything beyond an hourly to a half an hour, those are very short term. The only reason why they're readable now, or you're able to use them, is because of the low volume. When things start picking up again, there's too much noise. It becomes too much static. So that's one way you can do it. Another thing you can do, and I'll let me see here. Okay, and I'll go into some of these other things that you're gonna may come across to, is you may use an indicator, and these are indicators right here. And one of the things, you can use MACD or an RSI, and these are commonly used. How they're calculated, you could probably research that in your own. There is some calculations, of course, just like an average plus whatever the price is, or whatnot. I mean, it's just a formula put onto a graph. That's another. It's just another thing to help you. All right, and you can probably do your own research. But RSI is commonly used. So I'm going to click on this, and then what you got here is, here it is, RSI. Now, a lot of people use this to determine whether the price is going to move up or down. And I'll give you an example here is, like, if you see this price going down, they'll use lines for this. They'll use a line, and then when it breaks above that line, that's when they'll probably buy. Sometimes it works. See, if you gotta have a better understanding of how to use it, you'll see that this line here, this trend is going down, right? Well, if you look here, this trend is going down and it breaks above it, and you would think that all of a sudden it would break out. Well, sometimes it usually doesn't. It breaks out of this RSI trend line, but the price doesn't really break out. And so it's a little deceptive at times. On a hourly, it's really hard to read, but if you pull back to a longer time frame, it starts to make a little bit more sense. And so just bear with me. So, for example, here's a trend line right here, and here's that trend, and if you look, it does kind of break right around here. So I'm going to show kind of like, you just have to imagine the line. Okay, so it breaks around here, but you're saying, well, it did, but it still went down. That's true, but that should have been an early indication that there might have been a price reversal at that point. And if you see that it breaks, if you imagine a line right here and it breaks, but you see the first push, which would be here, and then it goes back down, right here being the bottom, and then it finally pushes up and breaks, you could have made a strategic position, your limit order, right around these price areas, and then as it goes up, you would enjoy the nice little bump up. And then, of course, this is all hindsight, okay? Here's another one to know when to sell, is you take this and make an imaginary line and then push it out here, and when it breaks down, you can start selling, and then it would have maybe broken down right about here. So somewhere around here you could have sold off and then realized that it would have been going down. Now, typically, hindsight, this looks great, but there's other times when it doesn't work. All right, and when those things happen, they're called divergence. When the price goes up, but the RSI still shows it going down, and vice versa. The price goes down, but the RSI shows it. Price goes up, but the RSI shows it going down. This would be somewhat of an example where you see the price going sideways, but you see the RSI keep going down, and it's called divergence. And divergence work in a couple ways. They're usually used as an early indication of price of a price reversal, possible price reversal. So, for example, you see this going down, but the price is going sideways. And then once it reaches to a point where, if you imagine a line right here, and that it breaks, and sometimes it doesn't always break. When the RSI breaks, the price doesn't always break, but it gives you an early indication that there's a possible chance. So what it does help. But you're still taking a chance. Okay, you're still taking a risk. There's no future indicator. There's no indicator that's going to tell you the price will go up or the price will go down. But it does help. A lot of people who trade on the exchanges use this. A lot of people who are experienced traders use it. A lot of people who understand it know how to take advantage of it. And so these are some other things you can start incorporating. I don't use them typically, only when all my other ways of analyzing a chart gives me no feedback whatsoever. I can't tell what the price action is. I don't know where it's going. I'm a little confused myself at times. I'll start going to an RSI and I'll start analyzing at least this portion of it to get a better understanding of what's going on. I don't have it all the time, because if you do, you overload yourself, and literally you get paralysis by analysis. I'm only paralyzed because I'm not getting a clear buy or sell signal. And if you don't get a clear buy and sell signal, I would say stop trading. Stop trading. Just get out of your positions, or stop trading. If whatever position you're in, you're happy with right there, stay in that position. Don't force yourself to make a trade. This is where you have to learn how to survive, because when the market's over flooded, you're gonna have to tighten your belt, and because everyone's out there trying to do the same thing. And unfortunately, when there's so much out there, you know, it's about attrition. That some of these people out there, they're not going to survive, because the winter's here, and the winter has come. And when the winter comes, it's about surviving, because you're going to have to wait until spring rolls around to thrive again. And this is a natural order, a natural cycle. If you understand that, then you're you get the idea and the concept. So that's my point. Anyways, that's my quick thing. Another thing you can use is, if you wanted to, you can use the MACD. A lot of people use that too for trading. That's what the MACD looks like. And look for patterns, look for things. One of the things I do, if you want to know, is when these two cross over, and a combination of when these peak out and bottom. And take a look at it, analyze it for yourself, and compare it to the price on the chart analysis, and then voila, that's you'll get a pattern going. But same thing, it's same thing with an RSI. Sometimes they do diverge, and then that screws you up, and it depends, in an uptrend or a downtrend or a sideways action, these kind of help, and sometimes they don't help. So again, experience is what's going to help you in this regard. If you don't have any experience, then I would recommend get some experience, and the only way you can do that is by doing it. Alright, so let's go to the chart analysis now. I'm sorry if I went too long, my battery's dying out here now. But what I wanted to do was, I'll just go straight to the chart. So I'm using two exchanges now to get an idea of price action. And one of them is this Chinese exchange, because it's here on, Bitcoin Wisdom. And I'm still using lines, but sometimes I'll look at the other indicators. And I noticed something when I compared the lines here. Let me see, is it this one? Yeah. Now look at that. This particular line shows this as being right on to what's happening. Okay. And I think I'll just go ahead and draw this outline, because it's really indicating to me some of what's really going on. As a matter of fact, if I go out here, as I compare it to the others, you'll see that it's being squeezed into a triangle. And this is kind of evidence of how whiplashing is known as whiplashing, where it just goes up and down in such a way. But you can see, if you look here, you'll see that it's really following this triangle right here really well. So I'm using this Chinese exchange to get a better idea of the price action, because you won't see that on the other exchange. Another one is, and this is all on 12-hour, this is Bitsy. Okay, another one I'm using is Bitsy, and well, Bitsy is actually showing something different. Sorry about that. Let me see here. Bitsy is a little different. You have to go back a little bit further then get in there and you're seeing something similar. As you know, on the Chinese exchange, when you go back to 3-day, it doesn't show this flash crash. So other things you can do is use multiple charts and come up with your own analysis. And so if I do the same thing here, the price action on this seems to make a lot more sense than some of the chart analysis on Bitstamp or Bitfin. And so, using multiple charts to do your analysis, using indicators, can help you out. So, looks like this is a support line. I've mentioned this before about 340. If it breaks below that, then look for more downturn. If it can break out of this, remember the indications that you have to look for. It has to be higher than the previous high, so it's getting lower, 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 lower. This is an indication that it's in a downtrend. How far will it go? Hopefully this is a support line. Other than that, I mean, you're looking at maybe a parallel level to right about here. Excuse me. This is on a Bitsy, 320. So if you compare that with the other charts, then you realize about where this low here may be the next support for the if this breaks down. So hopefully this helps you. Typically I don't use indicators, but when you're in a situation where market's over flooded, you're not getting any trades out in the streets, sometimes it's best not to trade at all, because competing in a flooded market is not a good idea. When I see that, I usually pull back. If anything, I do less trading on the streets, because I'll let everyone else just kill themselves, and after they all kill themselves, I'll come back on the streets. But what I will always do is I will always be trading on the exchange. The exchange market will always be there. Next day, the day after that. If you don't know how to trade on the charts, I would say you better start learning, because that's what's gonna help you survive. If you're just trading straight on the streets and you're expecting to survive that way, you could, and if you survive, you become way stronger. So anyways, I'm going to end this episode. Feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, even a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.